Sunlight kitties. I love you. I'm here. I had my hair appointment this morning. It's kind of growing on me. I don't know. I think I might just leave it and let it grow out. Stop sniffing it. But it feels so bouncy. I feel like I'm in those Pantene hair commercials. I had a beautiful lunch with my beautiful mama, and then we stopped into the bookstore, and I was having a lovely chat with one of the ladies who's working there, and we were lamenting over the fact that a lot of the book clubs here suck in regards to the book choices. They all seem to read the same books, and both of us two really do like sci-fi and fantasy, and it's like no one will pick a sci-fi or a fantasy book for a book club, and it sucks. And I was like, yes. And then we were just chatting, and I was leaving, and I thought there was like a vibe. Okay, not romantic. She's probably in her 20s. She was young, but there was like, a little thing there, two book nerds, nerding out. And so I went back in the store and I said, hey, if you ever want to like buddy read a book sometime, let me know. But I'm aware like she works there, so she's probably just being friendly. It's like, I don't want to be a creepy guy. So I just asked like, what are you reading? And that way I can just chat to her about it the next time I come in. My mom's like, you should exchange numbers. And I'm like, no, Mom, it's okay. Let's not pressure her to give out her personal information. I'll just chat to her when I see her in the bookstore. But yeah, I was like, oh, it'd be nice if I could, find someone who likes reading similar books. That would be great. We were trashing the majority of the romantasy genre though as well. Like it's one thing to the romantasy is not the issue. It's like the quality of the books in that. They seem to, for the most part, forget about like the plot and the writing just so they can put in the tropes and the romance. So that's what we were lamenting. Like not a lot of them, they could be fantastic, but some of them, will sacrifice quality to have the quantity of the romance tropes shoved in there. But anyway, I am frizzled and frazzled. My brain is not working today. I'm so sorry, but I'm worried that I will wake up in worse shape tomorrow. So I'm trying to get this started today. My voice is on the way out, but we've got time. So I'm going to pick some books. So I'm using this. What is this one called? This is the Exile Awaken Tarot, and it's got, I'm such a sucker for shiny shit, especially rainbows. Blue. Okay, I have 8 cat scratching posts in my house, but all my cats think, why bother with those when there's carpet on the floor, easy access, we can do it while lying down. So they just destroyed my 100% wool carpets. Can't have nice things if you got kitties and kids. I have to keep reminding myself that, there's a cost and benefit to everything, and I do love my cats and kids, so I still wouldn't choose beautiful carpets over them. But I'm like, why can I not have both? Why can I not have my home not destroyed and have my kids and cats? Anyway, we've got, what card did I pull? Oh, fuck. Death. No! Look, I normally love the death card. I am a Scorpio, it's our card, but man, I just wanted something to be like, hey, Chanel, this week's going to be easy breezy for you. You're going to have a sun week, a sun cut week, or a 2 of cups. Dare I say it? My mum was like trying to source hotties for me too. She's like, Chanel, this is wasted. There's no cuties here. And I'm like, Mum, doesn't matter if there's cuties. None of them will give me eye contact. I am invisible. But yeah, she's always doubted me when I've said, no one approaches anybody in the real world. And, I've been single for over 2 years. And if you're not on the apps, you're not going to find anyone. She's like, surely there's people around. But she's like, yeah, I see what you're saying now. Like there's good looking men and women around, but they weren't interested. I'm like, no, I'm not everyone's cup of tea either. So now she's going to try and set me up with people she knows. What do you reckon, guys? Should I say yes? I guess I've got nothing to lose, but I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at. My mom's playing matchmaker. We've got the death card. So what is death? Theme or in the title? So a book that has death as a theme or has death in the title. I can't even think of anything off the top of my head. So let's go on to my TBR. She was telling me, she's like, maybe you should go salsa dancing and Latin dancing. And I said, look, I did go. But as soon as the men went to put their hands on my body, it was a no. I don't like being touched by people I don't know and I don't trust. Yeah, I'm not a dance with a stranger person. Like, if we're not touching, that's fine. But if they're putting their hands on my waist and their groin is aligned with mine, I don't like it. Like, I don't know you. You're in, look, that's probably because of my history too. I think if you've experienced any kind of sexual trauma, you have like the physical boundaries where you just don't want to be touched by anybody. So unfortunately that is the case for me. But yeah, I said to her, look, I know it sounds fantastic and I love Latin dancing. I used to Latin dance, but with my partner, not with random men and women. Okay, there's a book called Hearts in the Hard Ground by G.B. Anderson. And it starts by saying, following the death of her mother, Fiona buys a new house to start a new life. Unfortunately, she gets more ghosts than she expected. So that has a lot of death in there and ghosts who are dead. So that is a contender. Could have been a contender. I would love if something did actually have death in the title though. Okay, there's a book here called Rumors of My Death by Gina Ranalli. She killed her canary, she lost her job and her girlfriend. Now the ghost of her dead canary is haunting her. That is also, yeah, okay, there's two. Do I want to try for a third and then decide which one I'm going with? Okay, I've also got another one called Death in Spring by Merce Rodoreda. I don't know how to pronounce it. And it says it's about a bizarre and destructive customs of a nameless town, burying the dead in trees after filling their mouths with cement to prevent their soul from escaping. Ooh, that's also another one. I didn't realize there were so many deaths. Another one, The Enterprise of Death by Jesse Bullington. And this is about the Spanish Inquisition, a young African slave, and an ancient necromancer. I think I'm definitely going to choose one of the books that has death in the title. Oh my God, there's another one. I Am Made of Death by Kelly Andrew. I feel like this just got released. When is it? 4th of March. Oh, so this is a dark romance. Oh, maybe. Okay, so those are the options. I Am Made of Death by Kelly Andrew, Enterprise of Death by Jesse Bullington, Death in Spring by Merce Rodoreda, and Rumors of My Death by Gina Ranalli. So I will do that based on maybe what's available at the library. And I'll see if there are any previews of that on Goodreads, because I love doing that, reading the first chapter on Goodreads. That gives me a better idea of what I might be in the mood for. But yes, got a few options for death. And now it's jar time. It's jar time. Jar time. I think last time I got The Hike, that was a 5-star read, or was that before? I never remember. Oh no, I got Elegy for the Undead. That was literally, I just talked about it today. This is what I mean. I lose time. What did I get? I'll show you. What did I get? 7 Blades in Black by Sam Skies by Monty Adkins. I think, Monty, is this the one that you recommended the most? You thought I would most like out of all the books you recommended to me? I don't know. But hopefully this is at my library, because like I said, there are some in here that I put in here before checking if they were in the catalogue. But otherwise that will be my choice. Pretty sure that's a fantasy. I'm due to go to the library tomorrow, so I'll also see what they've got in and pick from there. I might grab one, but I'll see you guys once I've read something. I forgot to mention I got some book mail, so I did order a special edition of The Wild Huntress, thanks to Tom by Emily Lloyd-Jones, and it comes with sprayed edges. That's probably a better angle of that, and on the top they're gold and sparkly. To be honest, I'm not super impressed with the quality of this one, and probably would not purchase from this supplier again. Yeah, so it's that kind of day. Obviously my reaction times are not fast today. I dropped this twice and the whole back like sort of popped out, and I've kind of popped it back in, but it's like turning on and off. I'm just like, I can't really be buying a Kobo right now. This one's I think only 1.5 years old. There's so many books on there. So while it's still working, I'll see if I can get the books off and back them up just in case it goes down. But this is what happens when you don't sleep. Mistakes are made. Hello, babes. Every time I try and say something different besides darling, it feels ick. I did read a book yesterday. So I read Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. This is about a sort of star-crossed lovers, enemies who reincarnate over time. The dude is destined to kill the girl before their 18th birthdays in every lifetime. So what happens is he kills her, he dies simultaneously because they're linked, doesn't matter who dies, they both die, and then they wake up, new bodies, they have no memories of their previous lives until they turn 8. And then at 8 years old, boom, their previous adult consciousness and all of the memory of everyone they've ever been back in their heads. They sometimes change gender, they don't always wake up in the same gendered body, but every single lifetime he finds her, he kills her. He doesn't tell her why. He says, I'm doing this for your own good. This is for us. I love you. I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Right out the gate, that was feeling abusive to me. I'm like, this is ringing of an abusive relationship. And he never tells her. He never tells her why. She always asks, why? Even in the lifetimes where they fall in love. And already I was like, wait, though, they're in kids' bodies. I know in here they're adults, but they're in children's bodies. But I think they don't ever have sex. Then I'm also like, how in love are you? And that's the thing too. All the love, the romance was telling, not showing you. I didn't buy it. I didn't root for them. I didn't feel the angst and the, trauma when he has to kill her because he loves her. But why does he love her? Why does she love him? And why is he doing this? So it was feeling very repetitive, and it felt like the chapters were just filler chapters. You weren't getting any new information every time. And I'm just like, what's the point of this? This whole book for me ended up feeling like, well, this is going to hinge all on the reason why he's doing this and why he couldn't tell her. If that reason isn't phenomenal, I'll be pissed, because I wasn't really liking it. So after 100 pages, I decided to go on Goodreads and I read some reviews and I was like, you know what, I'm going to trust my gut with this and just skip to the end. So I read the last 50 pages where supposedly the reason why is finally revealed. So you have to go through everything before you actually find out any sort of information. No, I'm not going to spoil it, but I was like, okay, my gut was right. I'm glad I didn't go through the next 400 pages because no. So this was not for me. People are saying, if you like Invisible Lives of Addie LaRue, read it. I think Addie LaRue, look, I got a bit better sleep, but I'm still quite messed up, still have a lot of brain fatigue. Addie LaRue was better. Peaches and Honey is better if you want that lovers throughout time, complicated relationship kind of shtick. This one just, no, not for me. So that was that. And then I tried to go onto one of the death books and my little Kobo went on the fritz. It glitched and I was like, oh no, spaghetti-o. So I went on my phone. I thought, let's just pivot, Chanel. You're in bed. You're not going to deal with the Kobo thing now. Find something else. So I was like, let's look for an audiobook or a graphic novel because I don't like reading ebooks on my phone. I'm going to the physio today. I've injured my thumb and my arm. I don't know how, but I'm in a lot of pain. And I found a graphic novel. So the graphic novel I found was called Death Vigil by Stefan Sejic. I don't know how to say the name. Apologies. Quoth the Raven Nevermore. This is a graphic novel that features a death vigil, or rather death knights, and they are the good guys, and they are formed because they die a valiant death. Some of these death knights were killed by the bad guys, the necromancers, because they had a gift, a magical gift that the necromancers needed to access for their magical purposes, and they are constantly in battle. It's a very good versus evil thing. It's a found family aspect because those people that died, horrific but heroic deaths and that join the Death Knights, they bond, they're all different. It's cute, it's very punny, a lot of humor in it. There is a sprinkle of romance as well, which I enjoyed. A lot of people were saying the main death character was too similar to Neil Gaiman's death, but I think she was fine. I don't think she was so cookie cutter. I enjoyed her. Her name was Bernie, and yeah, I had a really great time. There was a lot of eldritch monster battles in this. I will say though, some of the monsters, I did have a hard time locating their heads. I was like, where is its head? What am I looking at? There is so much intricate detail and they're so ginormous and stuff. I was like trying to make heads and tails of them, which is sometimes hard to do because they're eldritch beings. But otherwise, really great time. I'd say read it if you like quills, tattoos, and gaming. It did have a lot of video game aspects and some of the characters were gamers. So that was a pleasant little surprise. I don't feel the need to continue on with the series, but that's often the case with a lot of graphic novels. Speaking of graphic novels, or manga difference, I will be continuing on with Frieren. I forgot about it. This is why I'm not great with series, why I much prefer standalones. I just like one and done, and then being free, not having to keep mental space open to remind myself, you're still continuing on with this. Remember to read the next installment. So I think I'm up to number 6 in that one. So I'll get that today, and I'm heading to the library. So I will see what they've got. I'm definitely going to read The Mustache. I was supposed to read that in 2 short vlogs. The person kept it over time. So that's finally come in. So I'll give that a go. I've still got books from last week's library haul I haven't touched, and then I've got ones from today. I'm going to have to be selective once again because my reading pace has slowed down significantly. It's the brain fog. I'm struggling even with comprehension. I'll have to go back and reread it. And so yeah, it's slowed me right down, so I'm not able to get through the books as quickly. So I have to keep the 3-week loan limit in mind. And I might sit down, do a chapter of every book thing today and see what's going to stay, what's going to get the heave-ho. Besides that, I'm wearing a perfume. So today's perfume is called Dolce Treviso by Aka Kappa. This smells like you're on a date with a sexy Italian in a leather jacket in an alleyway in Treviso, and you were eating the best goddamn tiramisu of your life. So decadent and delicious. It smells sexy yummy. And at first I was like, oh, I think I found my summer scent. And then an hour later, poof, it's gone. It's faded. It's barely there. And I'm like, you know, so close to feeling like, oh, I found something. But yeah, I know some people are probably fine to reapply every hour, but I want to be one spritz and done, hun. You know, I want the longevity. I want the staying power. And this didn't have it. I have very weird posture. I'm trying to fix that because I'm thinking maybe that's why I hurt myself. I put my body in very weird positions unknowingly. And I'm trying to change that. Chanel, posture. I do have scoliosis, so I've got to be kind to myself. I do have some issues that might attribute to my strange positions. Besides, yeah, so I'll grab some books today from my library stash and let you know what might be on the docket, on the ticket, on the lineup. I'm going to go to the physio library, probably the fruit shop, because we're still getting those last kisses of summer. So we've got cold mornings and evenings, but the afternoons are gloriously sunny and hot. So I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. It is my favorite weather because you can sleep at night because it's cooler. It's not freezing, so it's cool. It might be a bit crisp, you know, in the morning, but then boom, sun's out, tits out. Sun's out, buns out, I think is the saying, because, you know, ladies aren't allowed to go shirtless, only the men. So I'm going to go buy some fruit because I love eating fruit when it's hot. And I might go thrift shopping. I need a bit of a serotonin boost, I think, because I'm just feeling depleted and in pain, more pain than my usual everyday pain. And so yeah, that always, just the experience, it doesn't matter whether I find something or not, it's the experience of it that is satisfying. And I do need to go to the bank and take money out. I like to have some cash on me, especially like if I'm going past homeless people. I like to be able to give something, and in today's society we're mostly cards, and every time I'm like, yeah, I have no money on me, I can't help this person. So I want to keep cash in my wallet always, just even for that reason alone, but also sometimes parking meters. I prefer just to put coins in rather than having to download an app or use a card. So got to get the cash. I like to have cash at all times, because there's been times when, you know, electronic stuff has gone down in Australia and the people are like, well, I can't pay for anything. And I'm like, this is where cash comes in handy. So, and I need petrol. I'm just waiting for it to drop down. Is anybody else do this where like you'll put it off because you're like, come on, just get a bit lower. That price is still too high. So I'm waiting, but I won't get lower than a quarter of a tank. I don't like being less than a quarter. It gives me anxiety because I don't want to get a call, someone's in trouble, someone's in the hospital, and I'll be like, well, I can't get there, I have to stop for petrol. No, I want to be like a bat out of hell and get there as soon as possible. So within the speed limits, obviously, but yeah, I always like to have at least a quarter of a tank. Because also I always think natural disaster, you get a call. It's like, there's a tsunami coming, drive. It's not going to happen, but my brain likes to be like, well, if we have at least a quarter of a tank, we can get further away. So that's on the agenda for today. I've yapped too much. Just tends to happen when I'm exhausted. I just word vomit everything out. But I'll see you guys when I've decided on the next book. Okay, I'm back. I have tendonitis in my shoulder. So we're treating that, but she did tell me that she thinks it's from my job, because I am hunched over a computer like this all day long. So she wants me to build up more shoulder muscle. She says I don't have enough shoulder muscles. And I'm like, okay, yeah, feeling humbled. I'm like, okay, I will do. So I'm just going to see her for the next week or so. I'm just hoping it just heals quickly I've got some exercises to do in the meantime. She did offer to like fully tape me up, but I said no, because sometimes I do react negatively to tape, but maybe I should have gotten it done. I kind of regret that now. At the time I was like, I just want to go home. But now I'm like, yeah, I should have gotten the taping because it hurts. I then popped into an op shop. Now this is one that's way overpriced normally, but they had a big sign saying closing down in 1 week. Everything must go. So I was like, okay. And I found a blackberry plate I did like. However, it was still $20. I'm just like, how much were you charging for this before? I'm not going to pay $20 for one secondhand dinner plate. I might check them right before they close. Maybe they might discount things further. But yeah, I was like, dudes, come on, bro. Like, they were so overpriced. All the books, everything. So yeah, it was just ridiculous considering it's supposed to be closing down sale for an op shop. Then I grabbed something for the kids, sneaky snack. This is popcorn flavor filled chocolate eggs, dairy. It's not dairy free. It says dairy fine. And this is dairy F, and I'm like, dairy free. No. Okay. Anyway, I guess I'll eat them. And a library haul. So let me show you what I got. I got The Temptation of Magic by Megan Scott. We'll see. It's a romantasy. That's hit and miss for me, but it's brand new. Upgrade Your Vagus Nerve by Dr. Navaz Habib. Nervous system disorders, so my doctor did say anything that supports the vagus nerve is good for you, Chanel. So I already know quite a bit about the vagus nerve. You know, I hum, I do cold and hot therapy, I jump on a trampoline, I laugh. You know, I try to keep it in mind to stimulate it, but we'll see what this has got to say. We finally have The Moustache by Emmanuel Carrera, so that's definitely probably going to be the next book I pick up. We've also got All the Bees in the Hollow by Lauren Keegan. Bees choose their masters. Bees don't sting good people. So we'll see how that goes. And the final book that I grabbed was called Slade House by Dave Mitchell. I have no idea what this is about. A stranger greets you by name and invites you in. At first you won't want to leave, and later you'll find you can't. So maybe it's a bit of a horror book. It was giving those vibes based on the cover. So not a huge amount today, which is good. Less books for me to start and then decide which ones I'm going to continue on with, but I'll see you guys later. Love you. I've got some updates for you guys. A lot has happened since I last saw you. I'll start off with a perfume that I tried. So this was Angel's Share by Kilian. And this smelt like sitting in a velvet wing-backed chair, sipping on a cognac and eating a cinnamon scroll. If you like the smell of cognac and cinnamon scrolls, this could be the perfume for you, but it just wasn't to me. I started reading The Moustache by Emmanuel Carrera, and this is about a man who one day, for a laugh, decides to shave off his moustache that he's had for a very long time and surprise his wife. But when he goes to see his wife and his friends, none of them react. And when he confronts them about it, they said, but you've never had a mustache. And so the majority of this book is him trying to determine whether he's being gaslit or whether he's going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now, 100 pages of this, it was too much for me. I don't like that in-between limbo stage where you're not sure if the main character is crazy or everyone else is f***ing with them. And also, I didn't like the main character and their voice and the writing style. I'm tired. So we just sat in my lap and I've got hair. It wasn't doing anything for me. And despite it being a short book, those 100 pages felt like an eternity. So I did decide to DNF that one. The next book I picked up was Seven Blades in Black by Sam Sykes, which was recommended to me by Monty. This is about Sal the Cacophonous, and she is a sassy bitch with an ostentatious but badass gun, and also a sword named Jeff.
With a name like Jeff, it is like a weak ejaculation.
Okay.
Jeff.
Okay.
She's basically a bounty hunter, and she brings down other mages until she's captured and sentenced to death. And before her last breath, she decides to tell her story of vengeance. This had a very Western feel to it. The magic in this runs on a barter system. For instance, the grasp mages have to let go of a memory to be granted the magic. There's a lot of politicking. Sal is queer. I was enjoying it. So I read 200 pages of this 700-page book. And then I did something very unusual. So for me, I only go on Goodreads and read other reviews if I'm considering DNFing a book. I never look at reviews with books that I know I'm going to read in full because one, I don't want to get spoiled for anything, and people on Goodreads, not all of them contain spoilers. And two, I also want to finish, say my thoughts, write my review without being influenced by anything else anyone else has said that I have subconsciously taken on and then refurbished unconsciously. But you can't help that. What you read, you absorb. So I like to wait till I've done my bit and then I go on there and say, what else did everyone think about it? Anytime I check the reviews whilst reading a book is if I'm pretty sure I'm going to DNF it, and then I go on there to see, can I be convinced to continue on or should I really save my time? For some reason, yeah, I read 200 pages and then I went and read some reviews, and turns out that the author of this book was accused of multiple counts of sexual harassment, including teen girls. And yeah, that's a no from me. Some people can separate the artist and the art in terms of like books. There's just so many books to read that I can't in good conscience read and promote a book by an author who has committed atrocious behavior and acts, especially towards women. I am woman. So for me, I decided no, because God, I don't say God forbid, but if I ended up reading it and it was a 5-star book, I wouldn't feel right about it, knowing what I knew. If I had read the book and found out later, different story. Well, not really. Same thing. I think I would have felt very conflicted. Should I tell people about this or should I say, sorry, I'm not going to because I don't want to give more press to this person, and, tell people go buy their book when you can support other people who are better human beings. So I did decide to stop reading. So Monty, I did like the style of the book and the characters and everything, but yeah, unfortunately the author was a bit of a D-bag, so I had to let that one go. I then picked up All the Bees in the Hollow by Lauren Keegan, and this is about a beekeeping community in 16th century Lithuania. This had a very folklore feel that focuses on traditions, family, community, and it followed a family of women throughout the generations. I think it was 3 generations of women beekeepers who prefer to follow the old ways rather than the Christianity. But then one day, a man's body is found mutilated in the forest, and the women try to uncover who did it because they don't believe it was a bear, it was a man. So this book was really slow-paced. I probably should have DNF'd it, but the murder mystery aspect was enough to keep me interested. I thought, who's it going to be? Turns out it was exactly who I thought it was going to be. And I'm not someone that tries to guess. There's just a really shady motherfucker in this book. And it turns out I was right to be sus because motherfucker was indeed shady. In terms of the way the book was structured, it was in 2 POVs. You have one of the mother and her daughter. The main focus of the book, I would say, it's about the bees, bro.
Bees? Buzz! We'll see who brings in more honey.
The bees are revered and nature is respected and their cultural practices and beliefs are kept to and adhered to despite the threat of the new religious order. Unfortunately, like I said, the honey wasn't worth the stings in this case for me, but read it if you like honey to the bee. Grief in terms of losing loved ones, nature-soaked murder mysteries, and the book The Honey Witch. It was very similar to The Honey Witch, which I also had similar issues with. So this was an okay read for me. The next book I picked up, because I was desperate to have something I really enjoyed, was Frieren 6. And this series does not disappoint. The lowest I've rated one of the books is a 4. Everything else is higher. And in this one, you've got the group and they're doing their current exam and they have to become tomb raiders and they have to make the impossible possible. But they do have a break in case of emergency that comes in the form of a golem in a bottle. However, the challenges in this are too great to face alone and all of the applicants must team up to be able to survive and get to the treasure. Frieren in this seems to be a pro navigator because supposedly Himmel really liked dungeons. Did he? What kind of dungeons he like? I wonder if Himmel was a kinky boy. Unfortunately, the tombs were guarded by a mimic demon which proved to be quite difficult, and the mimic demon would mimic the people that were trying to get to the treasure. And so because of that, everyone had to face their flaws and acknowledge their flaws. There were lots of lessons learned, like united we stand, nobody's perfect, you can't please everyone, and always check every loot box. I thought this was really fantastic. It was great. It was wonderful. Read it. If you like man-eating treasure chests, booby traps, and broken staffs. There was a bit of an RPG element in this as well. Now the next books that I'm going on to, I've got here Slade House by David Mitchell. So I've read one chapter of this. I decided to just read a chapter of all the physical books I had, and I've eliminated a lot. These are the ones that remain. So this one opened up with a mother and son. The son seems to be on the autism spectrum, and she has taken him to this fancy lady's house in London through this door, this iron door, in an alleyway that seemed incredibly dodgy, and turns out twas quite dodgerific. They go through this door into this beautiful garden. He's befriended by an older boy. His mother goes off to socialize, and then shit starts to get weird real quick, and they find that they can't return. It's already a bit, is this real? Is this not real? What's going on? What are they eating that's eating them? It's bizarre. I don't know where it's headed, because the part that I just finished, the chapter ended like this, and then we've got, so the chapter began, I should say, how did it begin, Chanel? So we've got the right sort, 1979, with this door in an alleyway, and then it says Shining Armor, 1988. I haven't started reading. I don't know if it continues on with the boy and his ordeal, or if it's going on to something else, if the things that preyed on them are now preying on other victims, but I am intrigued, so I do want to see how that goes out. And then we've got Matya by Emily Tsokos-Pertl. So I haven't read much of this. So you've got some Greek in here, which that's like prologue. And then you've got The American Wing, Clara, 25, New York City, 2035, because this is an intergenerational novel about a family of Greeks who emigrated. So here we've got Katumari Bakula, 18, Perth, 1964. So I'm guessing you're going to get POVs of all of the women in this family. They carry with them a matya, which is a Greek iron. It's meant to ward off evil, but there has been a premonition passed down in this family. And I guess we're trying to find out, is it going to come true? Are they chained to fate, or are they able to choose their own destiny? So this, one of the generations emigrate to Australia. So that's probably what's keeping me reading. I am a Greek Australian. My parents emigrated to Australia from overseas. My dad is Pontian Greek, so got a bit of personal intrigue with that one. I need to pick something to read on ebook, and I think I'm going with Greenteeth by Molly O'Neill. So I was wanting to read this last month, but it just didn't come into the library, and it's available now. I think this is a cozy fantasy horror. I believe, let me just look it up. Like, I have the ability to do that. Greenteeth, which is something I definitely do not want. Oh, it's one word, not two. Greenteeth, Molly O'Neill. Okay, what is this? It's a tale of fae, folklore, and found family, narrated by a charismatic lake-dwelling monster with needle-sharp teeth who is hungry. That's right, that's interesting. So I think this is set in Britain about, a lake monster. And it said it's perfect for fans of T. Kingfisher, who's hit and miss for me. Sometimes I just find them too boring, sometimes I love them. So that's going to be read as well. I'm about to head out, which you would have seen in my short books reading vlog, so I'll see you next time I've read a book. I thought about going to see Mickey, but then I thought, Chanel, the kids are back tomorrow, but it's school holidays next week, and they're going with their dad for 6 days. 6 days. I have never not been with the kids for 6 days. So I thought, you know what, 2 of those days, Chanel, you're going to go hard. You're going to do all the things you want to do. And so I'll go and do the movies then, because I'm tired, man. And this dress, like, it's pretty, but it's also very, very baby. There was a cold breeze, and it was giving Jennifer Aniston with the level of nipplage. So I think this is just a date night dress where I'm not walking. I'm literally just going from the car into the restaurant and then back out again. It's a toddle dress. So I'll keep it for that, but it's so uncomfy and I can't wait to take it off. I did start reading Greenteeth. So with the lake witch, she eats whatever the townsfolk, oh, there's a cat in the corner. Hey, Nova. The townsfolk throw into her lake. Generally that's a bag of kittens. Hey, Sylvie. But then one day they throw a witch in, and instead of eating her, she decides to save her, and she takes her back to her little damp cave lair, and she starts talking to the witch. The way that jennies, because that's what they call themselves jennies, the way that they're made is when the townsfolk abandon babies in the lake, and they feed the babies their blood, and then they drown the babies. And that's how you get a jenny. So far, it's giving a much cozier, milder version of someone to build a nest in. I'm not sure if I like it yet. It's intriguing. I'll see how it develops, because when anything's touted as cozy, I think in my head, ooh, might be a bit dull for me, so we'll give it a go. But I'm going to eat the chocolate cake, catch up on some YouTube, and I might have a nap. I'm really tired. I'll see you guys later. Hello, lovelies. Apologize for the odd angle. I have Indy. No, I don't have her on my lap. I've got Sylvie on my lap, so I am low down, but I did read a lot more books. I'll start with a perfume though that I tried, and that was Terra Mia by Carthusia. And this smelt like drinking coffee laced with frangelico with your feet on the balcony overlooking a Colombian jungle. It was earthy sweet with a tang. It wasn't really for me. Hello, Bluebell. Now, onto the books. So I did read Slade House by David Mitchell. This was the one with the mysterious door, and then the people that went through it never returned. And I was reading it and feeling like I'm missing context. I'm missing background information here, because there were words like lacuna, horizon, atemporals, all of these specific terms that didn't make sense. The book semi-explained them, but I'm like, is this part of another world? Yeah, it was. So this book is part of the Bone Clocks book world. And I really think that you probably need to have read the Bone Clocks first before reading this. There was just too much missing information. There were gaps in my knowledge, and it made it confusing. But basically you had a set of twins who were willing to kill men, women, and children to be immortal. And then there was this other division of immortals that were tasked with killing them for killing other humans. And pretty much, if you are unfortunate enough to find this door and go into this house, if you see your portrait on the wall, your time's almost up. There is nowhere for you to run. I liked one of the main characters, Dr. Marinus. They were super cool, and I believe they're one of the main characters in this other series. But whilst the idea of it was cool, it was just so much I didn't understand that was going over my head, because like I said, I didn't have other knowledge to give me context with the story. So yeah, it wasn't really for me. But read it if you like magical doors, English country gardens, and pretty pictures on the wall. Then I listened to Rejection by Tony Tulathimuta, not gonna be how you pronounce that. And this book had different narrators for the stories. So these are uncomfy, interconnected stories that touch on millennials, dating, identity, internet culture, political stuff, and the titular theme of rejection. So I'll quickly go through the stories. We've got the first one, which is about a feminist ally man who ruminates on his prolonged stay in the friend zone. And basically, dude just wants to get his dick wet, but respectfully. Then we have a story with a woman who has sex with her BFF and is absolutely debo, when he's very much a one and done dude, and she ends up spiraling. Then we've got a dude whose kink is sadism and subjugation, and he is struggling to talk about his desires in his relationship, and so he ends up just sending a request to a custom video account detailing what he would like that person to do. I think a lot of people found this story very shocking because he is writing on page his sexual kinky fantasy. I guess for regular people who don't read a lot of like sort of depraved kink or really weird shit, that would be confronting and unsettling, and it might seem vile. For me, I was like, oh yeah, cool. He says it in a very respectful way when he's detailing out what he would like the guy to do. It's nothing extreme. Obviously, like I said, I have read extreme sex horror stuff, so this was tame by comparison, but for the norm, it might be a bit much for some people. Then we had one about a weird homeschooled kid who thinks he has Riz, but is just super controlling and cringe. Then we've got a girl who eschews identity and orchestrates an insane number of online trolling accounts. She grows up with a vain Thai mother who controls food and tries to anglicize them. And so she is bucking against labeling. And yeah, that one was, it was a lot. It was a lot to read. Then you're finishing off with a meta piece in which a reader writes the author a letter about the stories in this novel. I feel like this author might be chronically online. My God. I admire the satire skill in this and all of the lingo and verbiage that is obviously used with being online, but this was exhausting to consume. It drained me. I don't spend a lot of time online. My social media is basically booktube, where I will post and then just watch booktubers, and Pinterest when I want inspiration on architecture, books, food, and just to look at beautiful pictures of women. And sometimes I go on Reddit, which is a knowledge resource. I want to find out, hey, how do I troubleshoot this issue my computer is having with the printer? Yeah, so I don't go on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that, because I find them draining. And so reading about characters who are online and shit posting and trolling and tweeting and having fights in their DMs, it was just, oh my God, I'm tired, bro. And like I said, you're obviously reading about problematic people. So yeah, admire the skill. It's good. I would say this is a book I would recommend to some people who are interested in this stuff. It is well written, it's well done, but yeah, it's just emotionally tiring. So that was Rejection by Toni Tullett. With Rejection, read it if you like shit posting, self-destruction, and cringe. Then I read Greenteeth by Molly O'Neill. Oh, I'm sorry guys, my voice. That was about the lake monster who had a witch thrown into her lake and she decided to spare her. Well, it turns out that an ancient evil had taken over the town. So Jenny Greenteeth, Temperance the witch, and a ware-peddling hobgoblin who seems to be a bit keen on Jenny, all set off on a quest to find a weapon that will be able to slay this foe. So there's a main quest and there's a whole bunch of side quests. It was very reminiscent of Nettle and Bone, especially with the found family aspect and the grey characters, along with the fairy tale challenges. Pretty much, what are you willing to sacrifice and for whom? Not the ravens are here. The book was very slow paced. It could have been cut way down, and I think it would have improved the story a lot. The twist at the end did raise the rating for me. This is more on the cozy side, so I thought it was good. I didn't love it. I felt like it could have been even better, maybe if it'd been a bit more grimdark, perhaps. And like I said, faster paced. But read it if you like Arthurian legends, side quests, and Trixie Fay. The final book I read was The Cat Who Walked 1,000 Miles by Kish Johnson, illustrated by Goni Montez. And this is about Small Cat. Hello, darling. Small Cat lives with her family until one day the entire town burns down and she's left completely alone, and thus she begins her journey north in Japan to find the place her ancestors came from and hopefully to find a new home and family. So this book really centers on the concept of Fudoki. Oh my God, there's so many ravens in my front yard. Fudoki is a collection of stories about all the cats who had once lived in a place. It describes what made it a home and what made the cats a family. Mothers taught their kittens the Fudoki. A cat with no Fudoki was a cat with no family, no home, and no roots. This was really sweet. I will give you a big warning. Animals are harmed and do die and get eaten in this. You're in the mind of a cat, and cats are predatory animals. I still, it still pulled at my heartstrings. I just wanted Small Cat to be okay and to find others to share their history with and to pass on their tradition and their story. Read it if you like brave little demon kitties, storytelling, and finding home in historical Japan. So it was also wonderful to see historical Japan as a backdrop for Small Kitty's story. So to sum up all the books that I read in this reading blog: Slade House by David Mitchell, Rejection by Tony Tulathimuta, Greenteeth by Molly O'Neill, All the Bees in the Hollow by Lauren Keegan, The Cat Who Walked 1,000 Miles by Kish Johnson, Death Vigil by Stefan Sejic, and my favourite read of this reading vlog was Frieren 6 by Kanehito Yamada. So those were all the books I read for this mood reading vlog. Until next time, stay well, Star Child.